Hey everyone, this is Ashley Kahn again, and very happy to be the host of these incredible interviews we're doing for the BIAMP PDX Jazz Festival 2021 edition, which is remote, which is online, and yet we're reaching out to you and making the most of it. And the focus of our conversation is a very special live streaming concert that we're going to be enjoying on February 19th at 8 p.m., courtesy of the one and only Harold Lopez Nussa, who is with us from Havana. Welcome.
Hello, Ashley.
It's so great to have you
Thank
here.
you so much.
Well,
Thank you so much for having me.
Our gratitude goes to you, my friend. How are things in Cuba? How are you making out? And what is the situation down there with the lockdown and everything?
Well, we didn't have too much impact with the virus on the 20, but we are having on the 21. January has been, we have been more cases in January than in the entire 2020. So everything is closer now. We are not playing music live. The children have no school. So it's a very special situation. And it's sometimes a little depressed because if you have been in Havana, it is like, people in the street, party everywhere. Everyone wants to see each other, to drink a glass, to drink some rum, to dance, make friends. So it is kind of very strange. It's a very strange sensation. We try to keep positive and try to keep making some music at home. But it's a difficult times. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that with us. Harold, that's amazing to know that, you guys are only starting now to deal with the crisis that we've been dealing with, through most of 2020.
We went for a month, but I mean the cases were not too big like right now. Right now it's the worst amount of cases, and it's the worst that we have been with the virus.
I see. Well, we wish you all the best from over here in the States, and as we all go through it in our own separate ways, country by country and region by region, So, but the thing is that, at least for you, I know that you have not allowed this to in any way stop what you're doing with the music, and that you brought out this incredible album, Te Lo Dije, in 2020. And I believe it came out in August, correct?
August, yes, correct.
Okay, so why don't we see the album cover and you tell us a little bit about it? Because it's such a great album and it covers so much territory, and yet it unites it in a very cohesive way.
Cool. Thank you. It is a very special album for me. I mean, I put together a group that I love very much. Those musicians are very special for me, which are Michael Gonzalez on trumpet, Julio Cesar Gonzalez on bass, and my brother Adrian Lopez Nussa on drums. They have a special way to play their instruments and the Cuban music. I believe each of them have a special sound and a special history to tell through their instruments. And in the top of that, they are my very close friends. So they are like my family, and I'm always enjoying a lot my music with those guys. So that's the first thing in the album, and then we was trying to put together music to approach more to the dance music than the jazz. Always with a jazz vision, or a Latin or Cuban jazz vision, but we got into a lot of Cuban rhythms like Mozambique, songo, timba, which is popular in Cuba. And we want to go there and mix things and try new crazy things. And I think that we have been. I mean, I'm very proud with the result of the album. It's close to what I was dreaming before.
That's great to hear because and other rhythms that I recognize, mambo and guajira,
Mambo, guajira, of course. Something that we call rumba flamenca. A little of everything. It's a big mix.
I mean, one thing for us Americans, we have to realize that when we think about Cuba is a small geographical location, but the amount of music that has been filled in there, the bandwidth, of what is Cuban music is incredible for the variety of different styles that have developed just over the past 50, 60 years. And a lot of it is about the rhythms.
Yes, definitely. And you can make you can make a book with each rhythm, with danzón, with cha-cha-cha, with mambo, with Mozambique, songo. There is so much over there to learn about it, to take from the how do you say raíz,
from the roots.
tradition, from the tradition, and to put in our contemporaneity. That is what we are trying to do. And I'm very lucky, and I always proud to be a Cuban musician, to have all this heritage with me.
Well, I can tell you from the New York perspective, which is where I'm at right now, is that we are lucky that that the Cuban scene is so self-aware of this tradition, of these roots, and that you always stay in touch with it. And this album is a clear example of that. In fact, the two questions that I had one was about the quartet and the other was about the rhythms. And without even asking, we're just generally asking about the album. You've already touched upon both subjects. I think we should give people a chance to actually hear and see what your performances are like. And we have a clip that we'd like to play that is from just last year, from last November, in fact, and it was an online performance, much like you will give at PDX Jazz, of the quartet doing the title track. Do you want to set that up?
Oh, definitely. This is the track album name for the CD, Te Lo Dije, and it is a Mozambique in our personal way. Mozambique was a rhythm very popular in the 60s in Cuba. So Peyo la Frocan. So this is something that I'm in love with Mozambique, and I did this song for the album. So Te Lo Dije.
And the next one will be Te Lo Dije.
Beautiful. Te
Thank
lo
you.
dije. That's a very strong message in Spanish. Tell us what it means.
Yes, te lo dije is something like I told you so, something like that. Um, I'm joking with with the popular music in Cuba have this kind of hot test. So they kind of sometimes arrogance over there that you are, I'm the man. I will kill you because I know everything, and I always trying to to joke and play with all these kind of things. So I told you, don't don't blame me. This is the way that I play the Mozambique, and if you don't like it, I'm good. If you don't like it, I'm good too. Something like that. So yeah, joking with this kind of thing from the popular music in Cuba.
I think in English, or at least in the jazz world, we would say something like, "I told you twice the first time."
Yes. I like it.
You know, picture how what I'm saying to you. You know,
Yes.
but and the music, of course, carries the attitude through too. I mean, Cuban music is all about attitude and stance, and
Yes.
there is that boldness to it that is undeniable. One of the other things, though, is this idea of bridging jazz, which is an improvised tradition, and a very
Mhm.
self-aware one of its own, sound and legacy, with music that is sometimes seen as being, much more in the dance area, and
Yes.
yet jazz, of course, was born on the dance floor, you know and
Definitely. Of course.
one of the interesting bridges that you're doing on this album is with reggaeton. And I was wondering if you could tell our audience, about reggaeton and how its connection to Cuba is very important, and why you chose to connect jazz with reggaeton.
Well, reggaeton is not from Cuba, but it's very present in the Cuban life. I mean, everyone listens to reggaeton here, um, and there is a lot of very very strong group of reggaeton in Cuba, I believe. I have been a music very controversial here. I mean, musicians they don't like it. They make the war between musicians and reggaeton artists. They say ugly things between them. And then I need to tell you the truth. At the beginning, I was like, no, I don't want reggaeton. I I I I don't want this to be in the radio here. But it's a reality. I have and after years of listening a lot of reggaeton in, in my neighbor uh, apartments or houses and in the parties, and after years to dance reggaeton in the parties in Cuba, I start to see things in the reggaeton. Wow, but this mix between this and the Cuban clave of rumba, it is very interesting over there. And what are doing Gente de Zona, it is interesting. And I began to, take things and I like right now the reggaeton. So I called my friend Randy Malcolm, which is a singer from Gente de Zona, which is probably the most important reggaeton band from Cuba. We went school together when we were teenagers, and I know he's he's someone like me that like to take some risk. So man, I have this crazy idea to mix jazz with reggaeton. I have a beat that I move on the. I mean, I took the beat of reggaeton and I move a little bit the. I think the free beat of the bass drum, So I move a little bit, and what do you think about that? I love it, man. Let's do it. So we just play and joke with this, all what is about reggaeton and jazz here and probably in the world, but mostly here in Cuba, and play with that and joke with that. People, it's just music, and if you try to do it with love, and if you try to do it seriously, and you try to do it well, I think that you can do anything that you can imagine. So
Well, I think it speaks to the idea that jazz really it's as much about a style as it is about a spirit. And that
of
spirit of
course,
jazz is always open to new ideas and experimenting. And it doesn't
of
always
course,
work, but it's willing to always take the chance and to try and bring
of
in
course.
other
That's
musical languages. That is the jazz tradition, you know.
Yeah, that is what
So
is important. Yes, definitely, definitely.
so
Take the
there's a
chance.
track there's a track that Randy Malcolm is on Te Lo Dije. And tell us about that. How
Yes.
did that come about? And what was the creative process of getting jazz and reggaeton to talk together?
Well, I took this as I told you, I took this beat, and I put some regularity in the beat of the reggaeton, of the main beat of reggaeton, which is conch pa cum pa cum pa cum pa. So I did conch pa cum pa cum conch pa cum pa ch pa cum pa conch pa cum pa cum cum pa. And so from there, we start to create something with my brother, with the rhythm and then a melody, and then Randy, he put the voices and the chorus and the percussion. And he had let's add some timbales all over to here, and I can play the timbales here, and then we put a section of brass, and for this tune I call it trombone, trumpet, and we had some more percussions, and even a keyboard player, a friend of mine who helped me with the sounds. So we just have one day of fun in the studio creating this song. We went to the studio with the ideas, and we just was creating like 6 hours of crazy ideas. So then after that, we have the jazz tone.
That's great. I mean, you certainly came up with a really, a dynamite track. I mean, you cannot resist it, you know. And then you've got Randy's vocals, and then you make
Yeah.
this crazy music video, you know, which is available on YouTube. Anyone can go to it.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Yes. Yes. Well, the video we call it. I was talking with Randy, and we call it this talented guy. He's a director in Cuba. He's very popular doing video clips. His name is Joseph Ross. Um, and I call him, I tell him about the story of the mixing jazz with reggaeton, and he loved it. And then he created, oh man, this is like, like if you sell your alma, your soul to the devil, because you are a jazz musician and you are selling your soul to the reggaeton. So he got this crazy idea of the devil, and me and Randy signing a contract with the devil, and all these dancers who dance in the score. So he came out with this wonderful video. It was his idea.
I applaud it, because the idea of actually seeing this or bringing it out of your head, this vision of making a
Yeah.
deal with the devil, it's so funny. But that's how people think about their music. They
Yeah.
really feel like it is holy, and if you get too flexible with it, or you take it to too much of an extreme, that's what you're doing. You're taking that music and it's sacrilege.
Trying. It's trying to get some sacrilege. Yes.
Might as well celebrate it. But it's such a great track, and we have to see it now, at least a clip from the video. Thank you for that. That was and it's so much fun. I mean, to have ostensibly a jazz, album, having so much fun with the music, it's great to hear
that. we got a lot of fun with the album, definitely.
I'm going to take a step back now, and we'll return to talking about the album. But tell us some more about yourself, Harold, because we're I think it's been almost 15 years since you had your kind of blast into the jazz world when you, being classically trained, won that competition at the Montreux Jazz Festival in 2006, and everything started for you as a result of that. And since we're talking to a jazz festival audience in Portland, the fact that your career really got catapulted into the international world as the result of a jazz festival, I think is a very interesting story.
Yeah, definitely. I came from a musical family. So my mom, she was a piano teacher. My father, he played drums. My uncle, he's a piano player, jazz piano player. So I know music from my house, but I started to study music in the school, and I was like a very focused student into what my teacher told me to do. So very into the Russian training, classical music. So I was very scared about jazz, about doing jazz or even Cuban popular music. So it took me from I started studying music was 8 years old, and it took me 10 years until I was 18 that I say myself, let me try something else. So after that, the result of the festival, I get to the competition in 2005 or 6, I'm not sure now. I changed my life. I mean, I took this competition with Alfredo Rodriguez. You know Alfredo Rodriguez Jr.? We went together over there. So we spent 15 days in the festival, and I saw, a lot of my heroes: Chick Corea, Herbie Hancock, Oscar Peterson. I don't know, Richard Bona.
How old were you?
I was 21, 22. So
good age to have your brain expanded.
Blow my mind. I come back home. I told my parents I wanna play jazz. I wanna be playing in those festivals one day. So this is what I really want for my life. So yeah, completely changed my life. I mean, the experience of a festival is such important. It's so big for people who love music. I mean, we need musicians. We need the festival. So yeah, thank you so much for doing this and for doing this even online. I mean, it's very important in this time. So yeah.
Well, these festivals will continue. I can promise you that. It's
Yeah,
part of the
cool. That's
community and
great.
part of the circle of jazz, and it
Yeah.
stretches around the world. And it's what connects us. So, but something else happened in 2006 in Montreux. Can you tell us about that? The competition.
Well, yeah, I went to the competition and I won the competition. I won the public prize and I won the first prize in the competition. And then that opened a lot of doors for me. I mean, I went the year before to play in the festival. I signed with a French label. I signed with a booking agents in France. So next year, when I come back to the festival, I did a couple of more festivals in Europe, and I start playing in Europe every year, often and often, every time. So definitely was a big thing for me and helped me a lot in open and encourage myself to do jazz.
That's great. That's great. Well, I mean, Harmonia Mundi, I think was the label, right?
Yes,
The French
yes,
label.
exactly.
And then now here we are 9 albums later. And in the
Yes,
States, of course, you're with Mac Avenue. And
yes.
how has that been going? Kind of summarize for us what the last 15 years has been, what sort of journey you've been on.
Well, I was playing a lot in France mostly because I signed with a French label. I have some heritage from France. My grandma was French, so I have some connection with the country. So for I think that for 10 years I was playing a lot in Europe and mostly in France. And then I met uh, this guy in the Havana Jazz Festival. One day he came after concert uh, to the green room, and I went to talk with Harold, and he told me, "Hey, I work with I'm a booking agency in the States, and I work with some artists from jazz, like oh yeah, yes, like Pat Messini, Winsor Marsalis, Chick Corea, and what? Yeah, and I'm interested in work with you. So I started a friendship with Ted Corland, which is my manager right now, and my friend. I mean, they are like my family in the States. We stay in their home every time that we came to the Massachusetts area, and I have a great relationship with them. And there have been such how to say they support us a lot. It's through them that I met Danny from Mac Avenue, and we sing with Mac Avenue. And I'm very proud of be part of the catalog of Mac Avenue, which have a great jazz artist. And this is our third album with Mac Avenue. So I think things like started again because I was never playing the States. So when I played first time, the States was like nobody knows me here. I was playing for 10 years in Europe or in France, but this is like another world. It's like a continent. It's huge. It's big. Here, here is where all musicians are. So it's kind of very hard to make a career in the States. So I'm very, very, very grateful and proud to have all those support. I have been, I think, 5 years now that we have been playing a lot in the States. And I have to say, I love to play in the States. I feel some connection with the audience in the United States that every time remind me Cuba and the relation that I have with the audience in Cuba. I don't know. People are close. Yeah, we are in the same continent. We have so many things in common. So yes, I just can't wait to get back and play again in the States.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting point you bring up because I think the door that leads out of the United States for American artists always opens easier than the other way around. And it is
Yes,
unfairly challenging, I think, for
yes,
artists outside of the United States to break into the American scene.
yes. You're right. You're right. Yeah, it's
But
not
you've
it's
managed
not
to do
easy.
it. Yeah.
I'm lucky. I'm lucky,
Yeah.
and we're working every day. To try.
So I think it is to the credit of people like Ted Kurland and Mac Avenue and certain other doorways,
Yes,
that
yes.
we are fortunate now that we do look beyond our own borders, and
Mm.
politically, this is a time when we have to really consciously do that.
Yes, I hope so. I really hope so.
Keep those borders open. You know,
Please.
one speaking of cultural doorways too. We have this wonderful city down in the southern part of America that is almost more Caribbean than it is American. It's called New Orleans, and you pay tribute. You like that segue? Did I do that smoothly?
Yes.
You know, there's this wonderful track on your new album that I've played again and again. It's wonderful. It's called Van Van Meets New Orleans, and
Yes.
you are playing some kick-ass piano on it. And I want you to talk about it, and let's hear some of it. Love that track. So
Thank you, man.
obviously
Thank you.
there's a whole story behind it, and it says it right in the title. Van Van meets New Orleans. Tell us what the
Definitely.
inspiration was.
Yeah, as you just told, New Orleans and Havana have so much in common. So I was talking with I wrote this song with Michael, the trumpet player. I was talking about what about Van Van doing a New Orleans band. So we just create this imaginary theme of the band born in New Orleans and playing some music from New Orleans. So we do this sound of Caribbean rhythm, which is makuta, but sound like very Caribbean, you know. We took some like patrons from Bam Bam, things that they did in their songs. So we just recreate all of this story together, Michael and myself, and this is the tune. So yeah.
You know, there's a good friend of mine, Ned Sublet,
Yes.
author and music historian, who's written a book specifically about the musical bridge between Havana and New Orleans, and
Oh,
it's
cool. I didn't
such
know that.
yeah, no, it needs to be translated into Spanish if it hasn't already. But
Cool.
Ned Sublet, and
Yeah,
somewhere in
I
the
know Ned.
shelf
I
behind
know
me
Ned.
is is that book about the musical connection and how
Cool.
the Havana rhythms really fed into the syncopated kind of uh, uh, breath, musical
Wow.
breath that is the New Orleans music, and it's there in the R&B. It's there in the second line rhythms.
Wow.
It's part of it's the way that music is made in New Orleans, and why New Orleans has such an incredible influence, on the rest of America. But
Yes.
tell us about this tune. I mean, it's just a joyous kind of celebration of influences from New Orleans to Los Van Van and the
Yes.
importance of Los Van Van. You know,
Yes, yes. You know, the Los Bam Bam are one of my favorite Cuban band from all times. So yeah, we just recreate all the thing, all the influence that New Orleans have here, or the influence that could have Cuban music, as you tell in New Orleans. And it's just a fantasy about you know a bridge between Cuba and New Orleans. So a musician who just can play here or there, and no matter which city, it is mostly same thing. You know how music can put together cities, countries, people. So it's just a joyful tune that I always love to play. We enjoy a lot when we play this in live.
Los Van Van is a very interesting group, and it's there at the birth of style that you mentioned at the very beginning of this conversation, timba. And can you tell us about
Yes,
timba and
Songo.
why it's important, and why it's important still in Cuba?
Well, Los Bambam, they represent a lot of, of thing about the Cuban popular music. I mean, they're probably are the most important popular band in the last 10 years or so. So, yeah, they do songo, which is a kind of evolution of the song with a drum playing something similar to funky sometimes. And then from there, uh, more contemporary groups, they create something called a timba that is most mixing with Cuban traditional songo and funky. I mean, drums, they have a drum playing. It is like funky. And then they have the congas playing, much more percussion, an incredible rhythm section. So all this mix is what we call timba, which is I think the last years the most important popular music made in Cuba. I mean, the most incredible band who play popular music play timba, and they took from most simple tumbas in piano, and they really complicated with more harmonies and changing and polyrhythms. So it is like very very complicated to play this music well, and even complicated to dance this music well. So, but I love it. It is something that make part of our culture here, and it's wonderful. I mean, you know, there are bands like Alain Perez, Habana de Primera, um, NG. So there are such incredible musicians playing over there, playing so great music that yeah, I love Tim.
Well, they're one of my other favorite tracks on the new album. And this is, I guess, the last thing we're going to play because we're going to run out of time soon. But I want to make sure we get this in. Is if there's any song, one of the songs that Los Van Van is known for, it's one of their signature songs, El Bui Cansao. And you do it so well, and you bring in another funk-driven guest, from Cuba that I never knew about. Can you tell us about Sima Funk and your version of the Los Van Van tune?
Well, yeah, we did this kind of tribute to Los Bam Bam because El Buey Cansado was a song very popular in the 80s. I was born in the 80s. Same with Thema Funk, Eric, who also was born in the 80s. He's younger than mine, but in the 80s. So that made part of my life when I was a child. El Buey Cansado, the dance of the Buey Cansado. So I took the song and I make a new arrangement. We changed some patterns, and then we add some funky part at the end. And then I called this new artist that is like a superstar here in Cuba now. What he has doing the last 2 years have been very impressive. From someone that nobody knows here to someone that everyone knows in the street in Cuba, and who have made a very important international career now. I'm making some kind of funky, but with Cuban sauce over there. So he's just incredible. I love this guy, and I love to collaborate more with him. We are making something together for a film right now. He's an amazing artist, and I'm very lucky to have him, yeah, playing the version with us in the album El Boy Cansado, which is a classic tune from Los Bambam.
Let's hear it now.
Calienta. Compóntela. Compóntela tú como el buey cansado. Compóntela. Compóntela tú como el buey cansado. Compóntela. Báilalo,
Báilalo suave.
báilalo.
Osa.
Voy cansado.
Wow, a lot of different time periods being kind of referenced in that video there.
Yes,
You're
the future and
mixing
the
it up.
past.
That's great. Well, I can't thank you enough, because not only have you guys created an incredible, musical album, but it's such a worthy tribute to a wide range of Cuban flavors. And so it works like a doorway, an introduction for many of us Americans who need to be introduced to the different flavors that are in the musical, collection, the musical buffet that is Cuba.
I like that.
Feel free to use
Thanks
it.
to you. Yes,
Well,
I will.
you
I
know,
will.
I mean, thank you again, Harold, because you are
Thanks to you,
carrying
Ashley.
so much information and musical spirit. Every time that you create a project or when you perform, and to be part of PDX Jazz, we're honored to have you.
No, it's my pleasure and my great honor to be here. I've talked with you. Thank you, Ashley, and hopefully in live, in person, soon.
Very soon, vaccines.
Yeah,
Let's get past
cross my
this
fingers.
moment, and we'll be seeing each other face to face soon. So thank you again for your time. Thank you for bringing the
Thanks to
music
you.
to us in the spirit.
Thanks to you. Have a great day.